Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Next Take podcast. And this is our April bonus episode. So, we're going to have some parts where it's going to be just me, and we'll have parts where it's going to be me and Mikel. So, we're going to start off with the just me stuff of things that I know Mikel's not going to want to talk about as much. So, it'll be just me. So, the first topic we're going to be talking about is this is with respect to Twitch. There's been some updates with not so much him, obviously, but with his wife, Allison. So, the family of Stephen Twitch boss is considering legal action against his widow, Allison Holker, over claims that she's made about the late dancer amid the release of her new memoir. So on February 12th, Boss's family shared a statement on Instagram announcing that they're seeking legal counsel to weigh their options in a potential case against Holker, who released her book, This Far, My Story of Love, Loss, and Embracing the Light, earlier last month. Boss's family said they were completely appalled by the misleading accounts, inconsistencies in Allison's book. In the statement, the family noted that they had repeatedly shown compassion toward Allison, despite her disrespectful and invasive action, but Holker is trying to reshape his story, saying, quote, Stephen does not deserve this treatment in life or death, and her accounts cause us to doubt everything she has uttered publicly and privately. And this was said by the family. Due to the unproven statements published in Allison's memoir, we have decided to seek legal counsel to examine this matter. There are a lot of unanswered questions, and we want answers. So just in case you don't know, which, first of all, before I even get to that, if Allison is saying things, I don't know what it could be about. I don't know if anyone's read the book. Personally have not read the book. Um, but if she is saying anything to tarnish him, um, if it has anything to do surrounding his death, like that's not a good look on her. She's not thinking about how his family's going to feel, how his children are going to feel. I I think it's not a great move if that's what she's doing. Um, there are certain things that should be left between the two of them, um, that she should never utter. And it just become off as quite interesting, seeing as when he was first reported, um, being deceased, that she was she came across as being very confused as to how this was done. Yeah. So just in case you did not know the story or whatever that is, just trigger warning. I am going to be kind of discussing how he is now deceased and that was done. So, Twitch, who was 40, died by suicide in December of 2022. In her memoir, Holker alleged that the former, Ellen DeGeneres show producer, didn't know he was a producer, struggled with substance abuse, which is very interesting because at the time she denied that. Holker said she was aware that he used marijuana, which, okay, but had, quote, had no idea that Stephen was in almost constant state of being high. Is that from marijuana or is that something else? She also claimed that she found a cornucopia of drugs in his closet following his death. Again, things that you could keep to yourself. Quote, what I found was a lot more than shoes. There were Ziploc bags of psychedelic mushrooms. Some of the bags were full, some were half empty. A few contained only one or two mushrooms. There were other substances that I had to look up on my phone. And also, autopsy reports cited that he didn't have any drugs in his system at the time of his death. So that's interesting, is it? That, you know, he's on these drugs and he's high all the time? Or is she fabricating that? Or is she just kind of taking it too far? Because I would think, especially if he is the way she states he was, that he would have been under the influence at the time of his death. Maybe not. I don't know. But um yeah, I take issue with that. With her saying anything, even if it is true. But that's that. If we have any update on that going forward, I will update everybody on that. Let's go to the next topic. So, babies that are born between the years of 2025 and 2039 will be part of the next new generation, according to a blog post from demographer and consultant Mark McCrindle, who has been credited with helping define the generational labels used to group people by their birth years. The start of Gen Beta, which is this new generation, at the end of 2024, according to McKindle's timeline, will also mark the end of Gen Alpha births, which he sees as taking place between 2010 and 2024. By 2035, McCrindle wrote, members of Gen Beta, who follow Gen Alpha or Gen Z, as well as Generation Y, also known as Millennials, will make up 16% of the global population, and many of them will live to see this 22nd century. Additionally, Gen Beta is expected to make up about 19% of the world's workforce by that same year. Generation Beta represents the dawn of a new era, McCrindle wrote in his new blog post. They will grow up in a world shaped by breakthroughs in technology, evolving social norms, and an increasing focus on sustainability and global citizenship. Gen Beta will be the children of millennials and older members of Gen Z, according to McCrindle. They will also enter a world where physical and digital worlds, quote, will be seamless and where AI and automation are fully embedded in everyday life. Eesh, that scares me. The Their formative years will be marked by a greater emphasis on personalization. AI algorithms will tailor their learning, shopping, and social interactions in ways we can only begin to imagine today. But Gen Beta will also face major societal challenges in their lifetime, such as the continued efforts of climate change, a shifting global population, and rapid quote unquote urbanization in more parts of the world. Given that they'll likely have more eco-minded parents and millennials and Gen Z, Gen Beta will be, quote, more globally minded, community focused, and collaborative than ever before, Grindel expects. Their upbringing will emphasize the importance of innovation, not just for convenience, but for solving the pressing challenges of their time. Well, that sounds great. That will be the generation that I hopefully will birth. So that's that. Next, after Netflix canceled his 9-hour Prince documentary, director Ezra Elderman is speaking out about the Book of Prince, which was intended to be a 6-part film about the late singer. So last month, I believe this was February, Netflix announced that it would not be moving forward with the doc, releasing a statement that it had agreed with the Prince estate to shelve Elderman's project in favor of developing a new one. Okay, so I'm not that mad. Per sources close to the situation, Prince Reps had previously claimed that a first cut of the movie was filled with dramatic, quote unquote, factual inaccuracies and sensationalized renderings of certain events from his life. Makes sense. Elderman, who won an Oscar for his 2016 documentary, OJ Made in America, spoke candidly about the shelved doc during an interview with the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, refuting the estate's claims that the film contained inaccuracies, saying, quote, I mean, whatever. It's a joke. This is what he said. Here's the one thing they're allowed to do: check the film for factual inaccuracies. Guess what? They came back with a 17-page document full of editorial issues, not factual issues. You think I have any interest in putting out a film that's factually inaccurate? Who knows? He elaborated by stating that the issues with the estate boil down to control, what they're allowed to control. Because I think in a world where we still have Prince, he would have controlled the narrative. Prince always controlled the narrative. So, yeah, they're going to control. Let's continue. So, quote, this is reflective of Prince himself, who was notoriously one of the most famous control freaks in the history of artists, did I not say? The irony being that Prince was somebody that fought for artistic freedom, who didn't want to be held down by Warner Brothers, who he believed was stifling his output. Now, in this case, it's like, by the way, I'm not Prince, but I worked really hard making something, and now my art's being stifled and thrown away. Well, again, you're not dealing with a fictional story. You're dealing with someone's life. So I think it would have been better if done accurately. And because you're dealing with a fan base that is not going to take it very lightly if you're going to mess with Prince and his legacy. We continue to go on. Elderman was tapped as a replacement for the original director, Ava DuVernay, after Netflix and representatives of Comerica Bank, the interim executor for Prince's estate, made a deal for the doc in 2018. He was given extensive access to Prince's archives and spent 5 years making a 9-hour version of the film. Saying, quote, I'm like, this is a gift, said Alderman. A 9-hour treatment about an artist who was, by the way, brilliant. Amen. Everything about who you believe he is in this movie. You get to bathe in his genius, and yet you also have to confront his humanity. So, yeah, that's basically that. Move on to the next thing. So this is kind of just, again, we really talked about Snow White quite a bit in our podcast, but this is just a quick little thing. So with the premiere of Snow White, which was a couple weeks or almost a month ago, so instead of a typical London premiere, Disney will now launch Snow White at a castle in Spain according to the standards. So they didn't have the typical red carpet treatment. Disney has now gone against the grain of its normal by not hosting, quote, a celebratory red carpet premiere in London, which is where we know a lot of the filming was done. Instead, they will launch the film in a quote unquote fairy tale venue at a castle in Spain. Per the standard, quote, a UK premiere was never on the cards, and the plan had always been to do a more elaborate showing. Sure. At such a place. Disney is also opting for a quote handful of strongly managed press events to avoid more backlash and anti-woke comments from media and viewers. Too late. But yeah, that's basically that piece. Next. So this is more Trump stuff. This is pretty recent as of March 22nd. So US President Donald Trump revoked security clearances from his previously defeated Democratic election rivals, Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton, as well as a number of other former officials and critics. So Trump said back in February he was revoking security clearance for his predecessor, Joe Biden. His order confirmed that decision, adding that he was also revoking the security clearance of, quote, any other member of the Biden family, saying, quote, I have determined that it is no longer in the national interest for the following individuals to access classified information. Former U.S. presidents and top security officials usually keep their security clearance as a courtesy, but we know who we're dealing with. Trump ordered department and agency leaders to, quote, revoke unescorted access to secure United States government facilities for these individuals. This action includes, but is not limited to, receipt of classified briefings, such as the president's daily brief, and access to classified information held by any member of the intelligence community by virtue of the named individual's previous tenure in the Congress. For several named figures, the loss of access to classified material and spaces will have a more symbolic impact. It may limit the materials they are able to review or restrict access to some government buildings or secure facilities. The lawyers and prosecutors named by Trump, however, could potentially face roadblocks in accessing or reviewing information for their cases or clients. Now, that's interesting. But this is the thing. Trump doesn't think about the bigger picture. He only thinks of how can I make sure that people aren't going to spy on me because I'm the most important person in the room. Anyways, Trump's revocations focus on top Biden administration officials, as well as prominent political critics and attorneys who have challenged Trump or his allies in court. Biden's Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, and Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco all lost their clearances. Trump also targeted two of his own former officials from his first term, Fiona Hill and Alexander Vindman, who testified during his first impeachment trial that began in 2019. So even you's guts to go. Trump also revoked access for high-profile Republican critics, former Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. They were the only two Republican lawmakers who joined a U.S. House investigation into Trump's role in the January 6, 2021 attack on Congress. Both also voted to charge Trump in his second impeachment, which a Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives instigated after the riot. Trump was acquitted by the Senate on the charge of inciting the January 6th riot, which is incredible to me. Trump also singled out top legal opponents in his latest decision on security access. His order revoked clearance for New York Attorney General Letitia James, who brought multiple lawsuits against Trump and his businesses. In a civil fraud lawsuit that concluded in 2024, a judge found Trump liable for hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. Trump's appealing that decision. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who prosecuted and won Trump's criminal hush money case last year, for which we all know how that turned out, also lost his clearance. Trump's legal targets went beyond elected prosecutors. He withdrew security clearance for Norm Eisen, an attorney leading multiple lawsuits against the Trump administration's efforts to reduce the federal workforce. Andrew Weissman, a former federal prosecutor who joined an investigation of Trump during his first term and later provided media commentary about the hush money trial, also lost his clearance. Previous media reports had indicated that the administration had pulled the security clearance for a top whistleblower attorney in Washington, Mark Zad. Friday's order listed him among the individuals who would lose access. However, Mr. Zad told the BBC that, quote, despite being told 3 times that my clearance has been revoked, I still have not received anything formally. He claimed losing his security clearance would harm, quote, the federal employees, including Trump supporters, who count on me to handle cases few other lawyers could. Several of the individuals chosen by Trump derided his order in social media statements, saying, quote, I don't care what noises Donald Trump makes about a security clearance that hasn't been active for 5 years. This is what Mr. Vindman wrote on Twitter. Mr. Eisen wrote on Twitter that being targeted by Trump's order, quote, just makes me file even more lawsuits. Trump had earlier pulled security clearances of more than 4 dozen former intelligence officials, whom he accused of meddling in the 2020 election in Joe Biden's favor. Can't you just take a loss Oompa Loompa. He provided no evidence for these claims. Of course not. In February, Trump announced that he was revoking Biden's security access, as we talked about before. In a social media post, Trump said Biden, quote, set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. Yeah, here you are. Oompa Loompa. In 2021, Biden, serving as president at the time, barred his defeated rival Trump from having access to intelligence briefings, citing his, quote, erratic behavior. See, that's legitimate. A 2024 Justice Department's special counsel report found Biden had improperly retained classified documents from his time as vice president. The report noted that Biden had cooperated with federal investigators and returned the discovered documents. In 2023, Justice Department Special Prosecutor Jack Smith indicted Trump for allegedly mishandling classified documents following his first term in office and obstructing their return to the government. And here you are, in there again. It's ridiculous. But that's basically that. Next. So a Quebec man is selling his 2 Teslas and canceling his Cybertruck order because he now refuses to support Elon Musk. Elaine Roy says Musk's U.S. Inauguration Day salute was the last straw, which I don't know if I saw this, actually. Musk, as we know, the world's wealthiest individual, founder of SpaceX, owner of X, formerly Twitter, CEO of Tesla, and more, has become a polarizing figure in recent months since aligning himself with U.S. President Donald Trump after he raised some $200 million for the election campaign. While Roy says he loves his Tesla Model Y and SEVs for their high-tech advanced features, the Montreal area resident told Global News he can't stand driving them any longer. Quote, it's Musk I don't like. Both he and his wife each drive one, and he was halfway through ordering a third, this time the Cybertruck. It was Musk's now infamous Inauguration Day gesture that many interpreted as a Nazi salute. Great. That ended Roy's affinity for the company, saying, quote, that sign was too much for me. I immediately canceled my Cybertruck order, and both my Teslas are up for sale. The tech billionaire responded to allegations that he performed a Nazi salute at President Trump's inauguration, dismissing it as, quote, dirty tricks by critics, because that's fake news, but not outwardly denying the accusations because he is a racist. Roy said he had begun to grow uneasy when Musk took on the role as head of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency. Before that, he had been a fan of the business innovator for years. Don't know why. Anyways, the latest business reports show Tesla sales have been slumping in Europe, the UK, and Australia, and its stock price has dropped 30% from its all-time high in December. This could indicate that the Quebec man is part of a widening trend to boycott the brand amid Musk's entry into U.S. politics. Sometimes just stay in your lane, you know? However, Gad Elmozino from Club Tesla Quebec argues that the company employs thousands of brilliant people, not just Musk, and says he won't deprive himself of one of the electric vehicles because of the CEO's views. But you really should, because you're putting money in his pocket, and no one wants to put money in his pocket. Let's continue. Same quote. I've seen him do crazy things before that I was not comfortable with, but it really comes down to the product. He told Global he thinks the anti-Tesla trend was accelerated by bumper stickers rating, quote, I bought this before Elon went crazy. Let's face it, me not buying a Tesla tomorrow is in no way going to affect Musk personally and no way going to change his behavior. In recent weeks, Musk was promoted far-right groups and parties engaged in election campaigns in Germany. In the UK, he addressed supporters of the far-right Alternative für Deutschland AFD in Halle, Germany on January 25th. I hate this very much. He has been accused of using his social media site, Twitter, to spread disinformation about European policies on public safety and online regulation. Musk also has tweeted occasionally about Canadian politics. Oh, you know what? Get out. He praised Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's resignation and dismissed him online by echoing Trump's talk um, of Canada becoming a U.S. You know what? I can't. Get out of our country and get our country out of your mouth. Try to be Canadian. But that's that. Next, while we're on the Tesla stance, it appears that Liberal leadership candidate Chrystia Freeland recently called on Ottawa to impose 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles in retaliation for Trump's planned 25% tariffs, which Musk tweeted or whatever, posted something saying, quote, "Girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore," which she never was the governor of Canada. You know what, forget it. So it doesn't matter what you say. And this was the thing he posted on January 8th. Global News has reached out to Tesla for comment, but probably didn't receive anything. So that's that. Next. So, rapper Sean Kingston and his mother were found guilty on all counts in their federal wire fraud trial in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this is very recent. This was maybe just about a week or so ago. Kingston, whose real name is Kashawn Anderson, and his mother, Janice Turner, were accused of defrauding a jewelry business, a luxury bed company, a used luxury and exotic car dealership, and a luxury micro LED TV company, arrest warrants stated. The jury delivered the convictions after 3.5 hours of deliberation. Kingston, who's 34, was ordered to be confined to house arrest with electronic monitoring. We're going to see the very big difference here. He must post a surety bond of a home valued at $500,000 and $200,000 in cash, according to the court. Turner, who's his mom, who's 61, was reprimanded into federal custody where she was ordered to remain until sentencing. See the difference here? Both are scheduled to be sentenced on July 11th, so we still have a little bit of time, which we will stay on top of. As the verdicts were read on, this was, I guess, it says Friday, but probably again about a week or so, Kingston and his mother dabbed away tears. Oh, poor things. They've done this before. Kingston was arrested in Fort Irwin, California in May on a warrant issued by the Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida after a SWAT team raided his home in Southwest Ranches, the community in Broward, whatever. A federal grand jury indicted the pair in July of 2024. The indictment accused Kingston of using his celebrity influence and social media accounts to convince sellers of luxury goods to deliver items before payment. His mother, the indictment said, often followed up to ensure delivery dates and other details. Payment was then made via fraudulent and worthless wire transfers, the criminal complaint said, while the items were retained by Kingston. The scheme went on for a few years until March 2024, and the indictment said the pair pleaded not guilty to all the counts. Turner's defense attorney, Humberto Dominguez, said during closing arguments Friday that she was trying to protect her son from people after his money. Okay, whatever. And she had suspicions about a TV installer, 2 jewelers, and car dealership mentioned in court. Sure, ma'am. This case is about a woman's intuition, okay? No, it's not. After telling Judge David S. Lebowitz he wanted to speak this truth earlier in the proceedings, Kingston actually changed course, ultimately deciding not to testify. It's probably for the best. Kingston was allowed to post bond and remain out of jail until his sentencing, partly because he made the decision to remain silent, the federal judge said in court. Lebowitz said Turner's testimony, which he said amounted to obstruction, was a factor in his decision to remand her into federal custody. He said her testimony, quote, makes it impossible to believe she wouldn't do anything for her son. Well, I mean, any parent's going to do anything for their child, but not this. Kingston and Turner hugged as she was taken into federal custody. As he left the courtroom, Kingston thanked the judge for his fairness. Just a little, I guess, a little more on this. So, the Jamaican born artist did not speak to media as he left court in a frickin' Lamborghini Urus SUV. Get out. In case you don't know much about Sean Kingston, here's a little bit of a background. He was 17 when his first hit, Beautiful Girls, was released in 2007, and I Feel Ancient. It quickly topped Billboard's Top 100 and stayed there for 4 weeks. The single showcased Kingston's hybrid sing-song rapping, part of a Jamaican tradition that underlies the origins of hip-hop, over the musical track of Stand By Me by Ben E. King, which I love that song. Its video surpassed 1 billion views on YouTube in 2022, according to Billboard. And that's that. Next. So, Rogers has laid off various support staff across multiple provinces, most of whom work in chat support roles. The telecom declined to share how many people are being laid off, but a person familiar with the company's operations who spoke with Mobile Syrup on the condition of anonymity said that the number is close to 400 people, saying, quote, as customer habits continue to evolve, we're investing in digital tools and self-serve options that help our customers find what they're looking for faster. Like, how much faster? Because when you call them already, it takes like 2 hours. But anyways, um, while a small percentage of roles in our customer service team are impacted, we continue to grow and hire people to support our operations across the country. So, Rogers spokesperson Zach Courier. News of layoffs broke on Reddit, of all places, where multiple threads have sprung up regarding the layoffs. Those posts suggest that Rogers is shutting down its live chat customer support services. The source we spoke with, BlockGeo spoke, I should say, with suggested that people at call centers were also laid off, and there was an intention to phase out the company's retail support group, which solves internal sales and tech support issues for Rogers employees. Instead, store level reps must submit tickets to an escalation team to resolve even simple account problems, which could take as long as 5 days. So, even longer than it does now. The change could lead to longer wait times for problems if customers need their accounts altered, and longer wait times for anyone needing sales or tech support from the carrier. Toronto-based employment law firm Samru Tumerkin LLP says that dozens of affected Rogers employees have reached out this week after being laid off. A report in the Globe and Mail mentions that workers across Ontario, Manitoba, BC, and Quebec have all lost their jobs. Many worked in online chat support, others were former Shaw employees, which there has been major layoffs within Shaw, and others worked for the company's social media customer support team. Over the past year, there have been many restructuring efforts and layoffs across the big three Canadian telecoms. Bell has offered voluntary separation packages to over 1,200 employees over the past few weeks because they're just like, give us those people. And TELUS is offering buyouts to 700 workers, as it also looks to shrink its workforce. And that's that. So we're going to take a break here, and we're going to move into other topics, but with Mikel this time. So, here in Canada, well, in the States too, um, tax time is around the corner. So for Canada Revenue Agency, CRA, um, has told 450 of its employees, term employees across the country, that their contracts won't be renewed at the end of the month. So this is, I think it's April. So yeah, they're not going to be, some of them are not going to have jobs. Um, which I'm not sure if this is just a normal thing that happens, which I think if it's a normal thing, it wouldn't really make a news article. or if this is because of, where we are at currently in the, with the tariffs and stuff like that. People are losing jobs. Um, I don't know if that's part of it. Um,
Yeah, I heard things about, people are losing their job due to this the tariffs.
yeah,
Um,
I was talking about that at work today too.
yeah.
Yeah,
So one of my friends' coworker wife lost their job due to it.
yeah,
Uh yeah. Don't know. I told you that, but
yeah. I think I was mentioned in a previous episode, but
yeah.
it, yeah, like this. I just don't know. It doesn't say a whole lot really about what's kind of going on, but we can kind
Does
of
it
just.
have does it have to do with like a lot of the auto cars, or it's just
Well, I don't know if that's
uh,
CRA's
mm,
reason for things. Wait, that's one thing, because obviously that sector's being hit pretty hard with the tariffs, but
mm,
um, I don't know if that's the only thing. I think it's just, you know, a litany of all the different things kind
mm,
of being hit.
mm,
But so Etienne Bram, who is a spokesperson for ZRA, says says the CRA regularly reviews its financial resources to ensure sustainable operations and alignment with government priorities.
mm,
So, I mean, that's not saying a whole lot. It's kind of saying restructuring, but why are they quote unquote restructuring?
mm,
Um, Ram said employee unions have been informed of the cuts, and the agency aims to limit the impact on taxpayers during filing season. So, I mean, it's
mm,
filing season at the end until the end of May. They're saying that this is going to be happening or has already started. Um, so it's yeah, you can't really say it's not going to affect things because I mean, you know, call it what it is. It's nearly impossible, or it is impossible to get in touch with anybody
mm,
during
mm,
the tax season. Add the fact that you have employees being laid off,
mm.
we're definitely not going to get in touch with anybody, and it could potentially delay things. Um, which is why I'm kicking myself because I still haven't done my taxes. At the point of this recording,
Oh, well,
maybe by the time this comes out, I've already done it.
the due date is near the end of April, so you got a lot of time.
No, it's the end of May.
Is it end of April or end?
End of
Okay.
May. It's always the end of May.
Really?
Yeah. It's always the end of May. May, yeah, May 30. I don't know if it's 31st, but 30. It's towards the end of May. It's always how it's been, not April.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, let's
yeah.
say,
Individuals is the end of May, and then I think businesses is extended to maybe a couple of months past that. Yeah,
uh,
it's always how it's been. Because I've definitely waited to the end of April and not be a late filing.
hmm,
Yeah.
okay. Mm,
Um, So, as federal departments and agencies looked to find savings as part of the government's spending review, the CRA said in November 2024 that it was restricting certain hiring activities, freezing non critical overtime, and eliminating the contracts of around 600 temporary employees. So, like, clearly there's something going on, and they're not fully telling us, like,
mhm,
what
mhm,
that is. Um, Baram says the CRA continues to assess its financial position while maintaining its commitment to high quality service for Canadians, especially during tax season. Um, okay, I was incorrect. Mikel was right. It is April 30th.
yeah.
But
For
I've always
personal,
been yeah,
personal
but I've
account.
always been told it was end of May. So I've been being lied to, which
It's-
is why I really need to get on that.
So well, this is also the US.
Oh,
I keep looking at, I keep searching for Canada, but it brings up
Mhm.
the US, but
Yeah,
technically it
because theirs
does,
around the same time as ours.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so,
I think
so
they're then April as well.
yeah, they are.
Yeah. So here's what it is. I think this is what I've been told. So April
Yeah,
30th,
yeah.
and I think you do have an extension.
With self-employed individuals, June 16th and comes out.
Right. So I think you do
Yeah,
have a slight extension for an extra month,
yeah,
but after that, like it would be a late filing. It's not like it's hugely bad if it's a late filing. It's more if you owe the government and you did a late filing. I
mm,
think that's where you can tend to have an issue. Um, by like if you do like even if you did like your taxes from last year, this year, like you're gonna be pretty much okay as
yeah,
long as you didn't owe the government.
mm,
So that part is, that part.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay, so I need to give my stuff to my grandfather so that can be done.
So, it's all good.
Yeah. So anyways, at the end of that article, this one is going to be a little different. This is very, very recent. So this was just actually during the opening games for Blue Jays that this happened. So Dan Begley was enjoying the Blue Jays home opener. This was Thursday, so this was as recording was last Thursday. So maybe a couple of weeks by the time this comes out from his 500 level seat in the Rogers Center when an usher told him he had to take off his quote, Canada is not for sale hat. So, less than 24 hours later, that exchange which led to Begley being kicked out of the stadium prompted a phone call from Premier Doug Ford himself, who cheered him on for his patriotism and conviction. So, Begley is a lifelong Blue Jays fan who was in attendance when Joe Carter famously walked off Toronto's victory, the 1993 World Series. Begley, 70, currently, was wearing a red hat similar to the one Ford has been sporting in the wake of tariffs and annexation threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, which I have seen it. It kind of looks like a MAGA hat, but it's not. Bagley was removed from the game in the first inning, so he didn't make it very long because of the hat.
So
Though
was
team,
this, sorry, my bad. I lost track.
mm,
Was this like a Blue Jay fan or was this
yeah, he's a Blue Jay fan. Mm,
obviously, yeah.
mm.
I noticed that like as well, people get removed for the not Canada in sale hats as well. Not for
Yeah,
sale hat as well. So like
well,
that's
in the Rogers Center, you're
yeah.
not supposed to wear hats. I don't know the reason behind that, but you're not
Wait, what?
supposed to wear hats in the stadium. I don't know if it's, in case like
What?
you get, yeah, I remember hearing that. I don't remember what the reason is behind that, or no, maybe you are allowed, but I think because it was a political that you're not supposed to be. You're
I,
not supposed to wear anything that's political.
wow. Well, I have not worn anything political in the,
Right.
so that's interesting.
Yeah, anything that has some sort of political stance on it
Yeah.
or whatever, you're not supposed to wear it. Um, so yeah, so Bagley was removed from the game in the first inning because of the hat, though team officials later apologized, saying they had made a mistake and offered him tickets to another game. The ballpark's policy states that anything, quote, intended to draw attention to international, political, or other similar events, causes, or conflicts are banned to not detract from the experience of other fans. Begley says a security worker had complimented his hat on the way in before he spent an hour and a half relaxing with his friends without issue at the stadium. Then that's when the trouble happened. He said, quote, the usher was very polite and she said that I'm not allowed to wear something making a political statement and that I need to remove my hat or turn it around backwards. So I guess like, I don't know why turning it around backwards makes it any better, but maybe it's because if it's being the game is being recorded for television, maybe that's more what it's about. I'm
Mhm.
not sure. Um, and he said no. He said no, I'm not doing it. Half an hour after that initial exchange, the usher came back with two large security guards and a supervisor who asked Begley to leave. He said,
Mm,
quote, I saw the security guards and I thought, well, I'm not going to cause that much trouble here. So I walked out, and on my way out, I let everyone in the section know I was being kicked out because I was wearing my hat. Something my family would do. Bagley says the crowd started a let him stay chant as the staff told him they were just doing their jobs. I mean, I understood. It's kind of like you're in a rock and a hard place with this one because I'm like,
mm,
let him stay in there because of where we are currently at in the world right now.
mm,
But at the same time, I understand that they have a job to do. So,
mm,
yeah. Um, the Blue Jays reached out to Bagley later that day, um, saying, quote, we have spoken with the fan and apologized. This was said by Andrea Goldstein, who is vice
mm,
president
mm,
of communications for the Blue Jays. Um, saying, quote, our staff made a mistake and we have addressed the issue to ensure it does not happen again. We invited the fan back to the ballpark and he has accepted our apology and is looking forward to returning. I
mm.
personally wonder if the only reason they're apologizing is because of the attention this got. I wonder if they would have
Uh,
apologized otherwise.
what do you mean, like the Blue Jays? Like,
Um, so the Blue Jays are kind of or in this case, it's um the president of communications.
uh-huh.
But the Blue Jays on a whole, if they would have apologized, if this didn't get the attention that it
Hmm.
did,
Hmm.
um, that's part I'm like, you
Yeah,
apologize, yes, because
yeah,
obviously he's not doing anything wrong. He's not trying to.
right.
Um, and I think he's following, you know, other
Mm,
Canadians are doing this.
mm,
And so I just wonder, like, would you have
mm.
really, I don't know. I'm just, putting it out there.
I think they had to do it because, like, I think it's written in their policy. People just don't read a lot of the
No one does.
policies.
No one
Yeah,
does.
so like basically, yeah, I think it's in the fine print of the ticket somewhere.
Oh,
With
for
it.
sure. It's probably in
Yeah,
the back of the
uh,
ticket.
but
Yeah.
either way, yeah, just yeah, they have to like apologize. And people just didn't understand this and
Mm.
that, and then the freedom of speech, etc. This and
Yeah.
that, all that stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
they really had to like apologize before it got like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So like, just,
Yeah. I mean, I think like again too is like where he's concerned, you know, I feel like a lot of places, Canadian businesses, whatnot, have really taken the stance of, Canada strong and Canada's not for sale and then all of that where it's very patriotic, I mean, honestly.
uh,
And that's why I'm like in this place of yes, they're doing their job, but
right.
yes, I understand him
Mm,
as an individual
mm,
as a Canadian,
mm,
taking a stance on what's been going on.
yeah.
So that's why I mean like it's just like this rock and a hard place. Um, so he said they made a mistake. It was a bad mistake.
Mhm,
They admitted it and they corrected it, and that's fine.
mm,
So the following day, Bagley received a voicemail from Doug Ford, who told him that he was proud of his courage and commitment to being a proud Canadian.
yeah.
So he called back and to his surprise spoke with the premier for a few minutes. Bagley said he was impressed with Ford's candor and said the premier told him to keep wearing the hat. He said, I don't care who you are, we have to get together and all unite and defend our country. Amen. In case you're wondering, for the opening game, the Blue Jays lost 12-2 in the home opener against division rivals Baltimore Oilers or Warriors, whatever. I'm not a baseball person, but them.
Mm, mm,
So, um,
interesting. Hmm.
yeah.
Right.
So, another one that I have, which is interesting. I didn't know this was happening. It appears that Canada has been infiltrating the States in a different type of way. So here we go. So an unusual billboard caught Tom Smith's eye as he was heading to work at Emory University in Atlanta. Paid for by the Canadian government, the billboard told Americans in big, bold letters that, quote, tariffs are a tax on your grocery bill.
Mm.
He said, I thought it was pretty novel. He's an economics professor. I'm literally teaching this in my class that tariffs are a tax. The tariffs will raise prices domestically. Asked if he thought the message was effective, Smith said that it's up in the air, saying, quote, I don't know if it will change people's minds, referring to Americans who support U.S. President Trump's tariffs on Canada and other countries. We'll talk about that in a second. There is a current of, let's say, resistance to information that's quite pervasive.
So let me add to this as well.
Hmm.
It's gotten so bad to the point
Like, what's gone so
China,
bad?
China, Japan,
Like the
South Korea,
tariffs?
yes, have
Yes.
joined to respond to the US tariffs.
Mhm.
You know, China and Japan have beef in the past.
Mhm.
They don't like each other. I know they're probably working on, you know, growth and try to get
Well, who
better
knows?
between the two, uh, country
Who
between
knows?
China and Japan. But like, that's crazy to me.
Well, yeah, that's exactly the thing. It's like, I really feel like, again, I talk about this topic and it just
Yeah.
gives me anxiety, but I feel like Trump is just attacking countries in a way
Mm,
that he thinks will uh, make America great again. And it's,
better
and
yet.
it's serious, and seriously,
But yeah.
kind of going forward with the article, which we'll get to in a second, it's
Mm,
like hearing people
mm,
talk about the tariffs and how if they feel about it, who are
mm,
Trump supporters, it's you sound uneducated.
mm,
You sound like you don't even care to do a Google search.
yeah.
You sound like you don't even care to find out how it's actually affecting your country as well.
Yeah.
Just because it's the Oompa Loompa in charge, you
Mm,
think that it's the best thing. And
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't care
And
if you want the
it's
Oompa Loompa in
yeah.
charge.
Yeah.
Figure out how this is affecting your country.
Well, it is costing a lot of businesses too. Like their
Yes, and
their
America as well.
yeah, their money's invested into sending their cars and also, a lot of their goods
Mhm,
to certain countries, certain, you know, places in the
mhm,
world.
mhm.
And, and people in the United States looking at it like it's yeah,
That's fine. It's
we're
great.
finally not getting ripped off
Yeah,
anymore. I'm like,
but you are. But you are.
yeah.
That's the thing. And that's the other thing too. It's like we talked about bourbon, Kentucky bourbon,
Mhm,
what they are known for.
mhm,
And the fact that India is being now taxed on alcohol,
mhm,
how is that going to affect, just talking about that state in particular, but how's that going to affect them?
mhm, mhm,
They're, I mean, no offense, Kentucky, but I don't know many people who are choosing to go to Kentucky unless it's for family. You know, I don't know if Kentucky is necessarily a tourist attraction unless you want to, run through Kentucky because you want to have some alcohol. They probably very heavily rely on exports. Now, look, no one's going to want to buy your alcohol because they have to be taxed 100%, 100%. Like, it's just ridiculous. And this is the part of it where I'm just like, oh, you can't be serious. And I'll have other articles about kind of on this topic in a second. It's this whole thing isn't just affecting the tariffs and all of that. It's affecting other things as well.
mhm. Yeah.
That Canada is now like pushing back on this in different ways, being like, okay, you want to be like this? Well, we're going
Mhm,
to be like that. So, you know, this is affecting everyone now in different ways. And people
yeah.
refuse to educate themselves. That part for me is like you can't be this dense. But some people are. And we'll
Right.
talk about which state they come from in a second. Anyways, so
Mm.
Smith, he added, if one of the incentives was to get people talking about tariffs,
Yeah.
certainly has achieved the goal.
Mm.
The federal government has launched an anti-tariff billboard campaign in 12 mostly Republican voting states and in Washington, D.C. Messages on the billboards include tariffs are a tax at the gas pump and tariffs are a tax on hardworking Americans. Although the jury is still out on the campaign's effectiveness, one thing's for certain, it has gone viral. Even though the signs only started popping up over the past few days, many American media outlets have already covered the story with eye-catching headlines such as Canada targets U.S. tariffs with provocative billboards across Florida.
Mm.
One Reddit user about a billboard in Buckeye, Arizona, has so far garnered 13,000 upvotes from readers and more than 500 comments.
Mm.
Ottawa launched the campaign to inform Americans of the economic impacts of tariffs, said Global Affairs Canada spokesperson John Babcock in an email to CBC News. The tariffs he's referring to include a 25%, as we know, tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum, and threatened tariffs on broad range of other Canadian goods, including cars and car parts, set to take effect, which has actually it says Wednesday. So I guess tomorrow, as we're recording this, is when that's gonna happen. Um, or it already has. I really don't even know anymore. The Billboard campaign is up against op- ubiquitous messaging from Trump that imposing tariffs on goods imported from other countries will force companies to build factories in the US, creating more jobs and strengthening the economy. Yet you are messing with it in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
There, this part, I don't understand what they were thinking. Canada, Ottawa, come on.
Mm-hmm.
There also appears to be a glitch in the campaign. On his way to work at a nearby hospital in Columbus, Georgia, Kelly Jessup says he spotted one that said tariffs are a tax in English, but that the rest of the message was in French. Are you kidding me? Georgia? You think anyone speaks French in Georgia? No one. People, barely anyone outside Quebec speaks French, or fluently, anyways. What? He said, quote, I just thought it was funny. Nobody in South Georgia speaks French. You
Mm-hmm.
don't say. So that would be completely lost on the majority of people in that area. Of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
CBC News did not immediately hear back from Global Affairs on the bilingual billboard. Chris Irvin also thought the billboard he cited in Newport Richey, Florida. Here we go, everybody, buckle up. This week was funny, but for different reasons. The message was tariffs are a tax on your grocery bill. He said, quote, I burst out laughing, who staunchly supports Trump's tariffs and believes the Canadian government is wasting its money in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'm just gonna not say what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
This is Trump's territory, and that's the thing. You can attack, you know, conservative states if that's what you want to do.
Right.
But Trump's from Florida. So, and
Mm.
again, are we surprised that Trump's from Florida, my true crime people? No, we're
No.
not. We're
No.
not surprised at all. Florida is Florida needs Jesus. I'm just gonna say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave that there. So he said the majority of people here love what he's doing. Good for you. I can't. When CBC News had just suggested that American companies forced to pay 25% tariffs on imports may pass on the costs to American shoppers, Irvin responded that he could avoid price increases by buying domestic products at the supermarket, which I'm really happy that Americans have that choice so easily, and they know they do. Whereas Canada, we can try, and I know we will, but it's not as simple for us
No.
as it could be for Americans. Um,
Mm.
so yeah. He said, quote, look at all the brands that we can buy that's American made. I'm not going to buy the Canadian whiskeys. I'm not buying something American made.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Do you do? Do you? I
Right.
can't.
Yeah.
Um, Economist Mosh Leander says Irvin's argument highlights a flaw in the Canadian government's messaging that tariffs will lead to higher food prices, saying, quote, American consumers don't buy a lot of groceries from Canada to begin with. Yeah, and for groceries they do buy from Canada, they should very easily be able to find substitutes. Um, and he suggests the grocery message is ineffective because a scare tactic only works if it's backed up by a credible threat. Maj says the warning that tariffs are a tax at the gas pump packs more punch because that is credible. Trump has said he will impose a 10% tariff on oil and gas exports from Canada. Much of Alberta's oil is sent to U.S. refineries, which are set up to process Canadian crude. Yep, Alberta is one of the largest places that you can get crude oil. So just, Mosh says there's no easy substitution for that one. Boom, Bostic. The only other country that has Alberta type crude is Venezuela, and that's on the US hit list. So
Mm.
that's not happening. Yeah, burn bridges, why don't you? The Trump administration has recently deported hundreds of Venezuelans, claiming without evidence that they are gang members or alien terrorists. I hate this man. Sorry. Global Affairs did not respond to a question about the suggested messaging flaw and did not provide a cost for the billboard campaign. I would be curious to know how much this costs actually and where that's coming from. Most likely taxpayers. Regardless of the messaging, it's still questionable if the billboards will carry much sway. What does the Canadian government expect to get out of some kind of campaign like this? Said Irvin, that's our guy from Florida. So, yeah,
Mm.
we'll see. Let's take a quick little detour, calm our minds,
Mhm.
ground ourselves a little bit, and talk about something a little easier to discuss that's not going to be so anxiety inducing. Um, so the city of Pickering is allowing the demolition of a house dating back to the mid 1800s to make way for commercial development expansion. So I don't know if I've seen this house before, but well, no, probably not. It's on Highway 7. So council approved a demolition request at its February meeting. The Varden House, along with its associated barn, is estimated to date back to 1853 and is located at 575 Highway 7. It's listed as a non-designated property on the City of Pickering Municipal Heritage Register, sorry. So I don't know why it's potentially being demolished, but the demolition application is the next step by CapLink Limited to expand its food manufacturing campus. Council has already approved the zoning bylaw amendment for the development to proceed. A staff report noted a heritage impact assessment found that the building does not meet requirements for a heritage designation under the Ontario Heritage Act. The Pickering Heritage Advisory Committee doesn't oppose the demolition, but did request a commemoration plan, sorry, which includes salvaging parts of it. So maybe that means the exterior, some things in the interior, I don't know. Quote, there are steps in place to recognize the heritage on the property while balancing that with the intention to develop the next phase of the project, said Kyle Bentley, a director of city development and chief business officer. The Varden House is a 1.5-story Ontario Gothic cottage with neoclassical influences, a report by WSP Canada Inc. stated. The heritage evaluation determined the property possesses cultural heritage value or interest as it is associated with the early settlement of Pickering. From a cultural heritage perspective, WSP said the preferred option was to preserve and maintain the Varden House barn and all landscape heritage attributes with no further development of the property. However, it noted it's not feasible as the property is designated prestige employment and in the Seton Natural Heritage System in the Pickering official plan. The second option was to relocate the residence, but it would have removed its context and diminished its
Right.
CHVI, which I don't know what that means. The staff report noted CapLink said its committed to acknowledging the site's historical significance. Um, so that's that. Let's move on to another one, which this is this I saw and I'm like, oh wow. So I don't know how much you know about the Ajax MP, um, but longtime Liberal Ajax MP Mark Holland announced he will not seek re-election. So I guess
Mm,
he's stepping down because I mean he's been the MP here for a really, really long time. Like I met him when I was in college,
mm-hmm,
um, while walking to the bus stop. So that was
mm-hmm.
15 years ago. No, not 15 years ago.
But
Whatever, 12 years ago or so.
have you noticed any changes in Ajax since then? Has he made any policies to? Because like to me, I don't like watch the Durham region when it comes to like the what do you call it, MPs too
Mm,
much, which I
mm,
should be, but
mm.
I don't follow there. So how you notice like I noticed changes in papering a little bit here and there, like the library has been going through changes as well. I don't know if
I
that
mean,
was
we've
part of
gone
his
through
policy.
changes for
Yeah, yeah,
sure. But again, Mark Holland has been in this spot for as long as I can remember.
yeah.
I feel like it's mainly been him with the exception of maybe one person in between them, which I think actually was the case.
Hmm.
He's been in there a really, really long time. So,
Yeah.
um, I think we're not going to notice a change if, if Liberal Party isn't, the main party here,
Mm-hmm.
or like if someone else steps in or they have different
Hmm.
views than just, he did
Hmm.
or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't
Was
know if we're really going to feel that until
did
after the election.
did he have a reason to leave?
I
Was
think
he
he
just
just wants to change. Yeah, I think that's basically mainly it.
a change scenery? Yeah.
Yeah, he's not retirement age yet. He's, I think, just 50 years old. But,
Mm,
um, so yeah, I think it's just he just wants a little bit of a change, which, whatever, it's fine. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the only reason. But, um, so yeah, so Holland recently made the announcement on Twitter and thanked the Ajax community for trusting me to be your voice.
mm,
Holland, who's now 50, began his career in public service as a city councilor in Pickering, actually, in 1997. Next, he was elected as the Ajax Pickering MP in 2004 and was reelected two times before Chris Alexander, which I do remember this, was successful in 2011, defeating Holland for one term. So I guess he's technically both of our MPs.
yeah.
This is wise to
Because
too.
like I think it was like um, Pickering,
Yeah.
Ajax, Oshawa, and then it goes from
No, it just says Ajax
Uxbridge,
Pickering.
Oxford. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it's not
That's it.
Durham. It's just in the
Oh,
town
okay.
slash city
Right.
because Ajax Pickering is for those who don't know,
Mhm.
you just hop skip into Pickering. It takes nothing from Ajax to get into
Yeah.
Pickering.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's why it's not abnormal to have Pickering and Ajax be linked in that way.
Mm,
Um, so after his defeat, Holland worked for the Heart and Stroke Foundation until he returned to politics. Holland was victorious over Alexander in 2015 to reclaim the Ajax seat and then was reelected in 2019 and 2021. So 2011, that makes sense. He must have been coming around because it was election, because I was still in college in 2011, so that makes
mm,
sense. Um, it's time to go home, he said in his post about his decision to not run again. So, at the time of publication, there was no word on who would run for the Liberal Party of Canada in Ajax. And in the next federal election, Holland did not indicate why he's chosen to close this chapter, but his decision came the day before Mark Carney was sworn in as a federal liberal leader. So actually, I've missed this because I just saw this article like yesterday or 2 days ago. So I completely missed this. Holland was most recently Minister of Health. Before that, I just didn't know that. His role included leader of the government in the House of Commons and chief government whip. Other past roles included parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness and parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Democratic Institutions. Yikes. These
Mm,
titles are really long. From the deepest parts of my heart, thank you, he said in his post. What an
mm,
adventure it has been. In a statement after Holland's announcement, Ajax Mayor Sean Collier extended his sincere gratitude to Mark Holland for his
mm,
20 years of service to our community. From his time as a Pickering councillor to serving as MP for Ajax and Ajax Pickering, and most recently as Canada's Minister of Health, he has consistently worked to improve the lives of residents here in Ajax and across Canada. So, as an Ajax resident, he'll be missed. like,
yeah,
uh, yeah, it's going to be really different. That's all I can say.
yeah. Like, yeah, yes, will be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's part of Picker and Ajax, then yeah, I did notice a lot of like changes from since I moved here to now. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, so like, if he was part of those changes. I thank you for being um doing great things for the Pickering and Ajax community, and I'm hoping for you to thrive in your future journey in your new career. So that's about it. That's all I have to say.
Okay. So, um, the next thing, which I'm trying to find the portion of that where they talk about it in this article, because I don't want to necessarily do the entire article, but this
Hmm.
is an update on Hudson's Bay Company.
Right.
Um, so I might have to just go based off of memory, more than anything here.
Hmm.
So we last talked about Hudson's Bay,
Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
closing its doors, going through all that liquidation sales and the whole bit. So from what I was told, with the with people wanting to just run to their nearest Hudson's Bay store to get anything that has a stripe on it. Again, for American listeners, Hudson's Bay has very distinct, you know, looking things that are the bay, kind gloves, scarves, mugs, pillowcases, whatever. Anyone who's watched, who are a fan of TLC shows and you watched MILF Manor, you've seen them there in the second season. Um, so because of that,
Hmm.
people running and doing that, they, in a very short period of time, sold, how much money? How much was it? I want to say billion, but I feel like that's a crazy number, but let's just say a lot of money. Okay.
Hmm.
I think the number my mom told me was 22 billion, but I don't know if that's accurate. But either
Well.
way, it was enough
Hmm.
to pay some rent in some of the places where the bays are currently living.
Hmm.
So when that happened, they actually decided to keep some stores open.
Oh,
Yeah, and close others. So
oh,
like
this is.
Pickering would be one that's being closed.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they were going to keep open the one in Toronto. I think there is another one in a different city in Ontario. I can't remember exactly which one it is right now that was going to stay open. There was going to be a couple in Montreal. And I think another one in, I think it was Manitoba
Right.
was going to stay open. The rest are out.
Hmm.
But Still, that's incredible.
I mean,
Then,
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, what do you want to say?
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. But then the other thing is that apparently a judge denied or rejected um any restructuring or
Any
the
funding.
possibility of this actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, like I don't know what's going to happen moving forward if those stores are actually going to stay open.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not in receivership yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Once you kind of enter receivership, which the thing
Mm-hmm.
is the issue with not entering into receivership yet is if employees aren't being paid, if debts aren't being dealt with, like, and they're kind of holding on to doing that, like that could pose issues. Once you've entered receivership, then that all of that's going to be dealt with.
Yeah.
But from what my understanding is, at least the last thing I saw, is they hadn't yet entered into receivership. So I don't know
Mm.
what's gonna happen.
You don't know if it's gonna go through or anything like that.
Well, receivership will most likely happen, but
Mm-hmm.
receivership is basically them saying our hands are tied. There's nothing more we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if a judge has rejected any form of their plan to hopefully keep some stores open, then I don't know what's gonna happen.
Interesting. Well, I did went to the Picker Mall the other day. I saw two stores that were about to close. Yes, Hudson Bay,
Two
Pickering.
stores.
Yeah, well, they own another Saks Fifth Avenue as
Oh, I
well.
see. Right, right, right.
So Saks Fifth Avenue, I saw they're about to empty their stores as well. I saw like it was just almost empty. It's just
And see, that's my question. Like again, I don't really frequent the mall very often. I
like,
really have not entered the mall in that sense
hmm.
in a really long time. Um, I remember back in the day when you had like the two like opposite ends of the mall. There was kind of like this beacon of, you know, you go one side and you kind of go in the middle and you go into all the different places and you go to the other side. It's the Bay. So you had Sears on one end, which is obviously gone at this point. You
Hmm.
had the Bay on the other side.
Hmm.
And what's going to happen now? Because is anything in this place of where Sears used to be?
No, they
No,
knocked it down.
right? They
Someone
did knock it down.
someone
You're right.
bought that spot to I don't know what they're building around there. I
Mm,
think I don't know they're building something, but someone bought that spot, that area.
mm.
That's the thing.
What's going to happen to the Bayside?
I'm not sure.
Because again, like that section has been open since back
Yeah,
in the day. Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. When Eaton's used to be there. So it's
and
just like, I don't know what's going to go there.
and that's my entrance when I exit, go to go home, or go to the bus station as well. So I don't,
Yeah.
that's
And
gonna
that's
be a
the thing.
problem as
That
well.
makes like even if you're going to the bus station or whatever, you decide you're going to
Yeah,
walk it,
yeah,
you could literally go from that side. I
yeah,
don't want to pinpoint you too much, but like you can go
yeah,
down that side and go across the bridge if you wanted to do that,
yeah.
right? So it's yeah, like if that ends up happening, like what are you gonna do?
Mm,
You have to go from
yeah,
a different side.
yeah. I know you have to go to a different side. That's gonna be a lot of walking. That's more further. It's like
Yeah.
that's crazy. I wanted to go to make like some type of like tunnel or something to just for people that just go to that direction, that go to that direction just to catch the bus or whatever. But like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with that side. Probably rent it to small businesses or a
Maybe they'll split it.
yeah.
But that's the thing too, like the bay is two levels.
Yeah, it's huge. One level
Yeah.
is huge, and the other level is just as huge as well. So
Yeah. And
gotta
that's how it
be
was with
yeah,
Sears as well. It was two levels and it was huge, but it was just like
yeah,
uh, I
yeah.
mean, again, just kind of seeing how the mall has really changed
Yeah.
since, I was a kid and,
Hmm.
seeing how it's what's become since I've been an adult, or really and
Hmm. Hmm.
truly in the last, I'd even say like the last decade. Because I feel like how it looks even now versus how
Yeah.
it looked like, 10 years ago is vastly different.
Yeah.
But it's like there's not much left, especially on that side, like the side that I'm thinking of. There's not much really going on because it's like you go further closer to the actual street, all of that parking is go transit parking. And which I don't even know why they need that because they have a whole parking. But anyways, like it's just so different. With the Bay now being gone, it's like,
I mean,
or gonna be leaving soon. It's
getting more customers to drive the transit on a daily basis is,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's a smart idea to
No,
put
no, no,
to
it's a
buy
smart
that.
idea. It's just
Mhm.
like it's a huge again, but then again, like there's really nothing on that side anymore except if
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
go
yeah. That's a
through
big,
the mall.
yeah. It's a little bit for me lost for the because like I don't think people are interested on going to the other side, like going walking there and then going all the way. Like that's crazy to walk down there. Like
Yeah,
that's a
no,
big
no one's
walk.
doing that.
Yeah. So like
Nobody's doing that.
yeah. So
Yeah,
um or even the entrance where the Starbucks is. So I don't know if you've been here that long to know where Starbucks is, right? And
can
yeah,
I visualize?
yeah, yeah, nobody's gonna walk all the way there to the bus station. That's crazy. So um yeah, that's it. That's a huge loss unless they're gonna make some type of tunnel that leads to through those doors and go to the bus station, or they're gonna, rent it out to a future retailer. Uh but even then I'm like that'll be too big. I wonder if someone's gonna buy that spot, like, just like they did with Sears, buy that spot, and then what they're gonna do is uh management with the Pickering town center is gonna knock that down. So who
Yeah.
knows? Who
I
knows?
mean, I don't know. I don't know. Because the thing is like maybe they'll close off the entrance that's in between where Sears was and where the Bay is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because but there's an entrance to the mall that, as far as I know, hasn't been blocked off.
Hmm.
So like I don't know what they would do with that. Like that takes away another entrance, at least on that side. That's an entrance gone, and there's really not another entrance until you go around to the other side, to the back
Yeah,
side,
and the other
or
side,
the side that's facing Kingston. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't know like
yeah.
how that would
Uh,
work.
The one that there's another side too that's facing towards the Pickering Pickering Library as well. I'm like, nobody's gonna.
There is?
Yeah. So the arcade used to be, right?
Huh?
The arcade.
Arcade, arcade, arcade.
Remember the Pickering? Remember Pickering Mall had an arcade?
No,
Oh my God.
I don't.
You
Don't
ever been to
remember
the
that.
mall that much back in the day? Wow,
Well, how
back
far
in it,
back are we talking?
like early 2000,
No, I probably
2000.
no, probably not. Probably not because again, like early, you remember you lived in Pickering. I
Yeah.
didn't, at least at that
See,
point, and
so you never went to the mall back then that long?
not by myself. No,
Mm.
like again, like I probably like no because again, it was early 2000. Like, I don't know how early
Okay.
we're talking.
So, do you know where the old Cineplex used to be?
Like famous players.
Yeah, famous first.
Oh,
That
they.
side.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I know what you mean now. I know
Yeah.
what you mean now.
And then you just walk around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean now.
Yeah,
Yes,
nobody's
yes, yes, yes.
nobody's
No, no, no. But again, like people did do that, especially if, because again, you have parking on that side,
hmm
and you could
the,
do that. But really, there's really like I don't know what's there now.
the problem is that basically that side has already been locked off with
Right.
cage.
because Famous
right?
Players is gone.
Yes,
PJ
and
Pets was there. They've been gone for
yes,
years.
yes.
So, you know,
No, that's well, basically Home Senses is it right there. That replaces PJ Pets. I'm talking about the
oh, there's a
other.
Home Sense in there now.
Yeah, Home Sense and
See,
Winners.
guys, I don't go to the mall anymore. I
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
know that.
yep.
I had
Home
no clue.
Sense. Yep. Home Sense and Winners. I'm talking about the other side, like where you go to um what Sirius used to be. Like I think
Yeah.
the left side. Yeah, left side.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a cage locked off right there, and you have to just walk around. And then there's like um the next to it's just the apartment right across the road,
Mhm.
apartments. And then I think it's the retirement home or the for seniors. And then, if you walk across. But
Mhm.
otherwise than that, it's gonna take you a good like I would say 10 to 15 minutes to get to the to the to the not bus station, but I think it's a terminal, right? So
Yeah. Like the one that's on Pickering
yeah,
Parkway.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be. I wonder what they're gonna do. I don't know if the city's gonna do something. I don't know if the management at the Pickering Mall is gonna try to make it easy for customers that want to take the bus or wanted to transit to make it through, or I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Guess we'll see once it happens.
yep,
So,
yep.
all
Okay.
right. So let's move from there. We're kind of heading back into, I've mentioned that this was going to be coming up. We're kind of moving back into I guess, the ramifications of the tariffs. It's not really about the tariffs, but the ramifications of it. So, actually, no, this is not that yet. This is kind of more that is coming up. I do have an article on that, but this is more on the topic of like the Venezuelans, and that's kind of being more discussed here. So, the Department of Homeland Security said that it will revoke legal protections for hundreds of thousands of Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans, setting them up for potential deportation in about a month. The order applies to about 532,000 people from the four countries who came to the United States since October of 2022. They arrived with financial sponsors and were given 2-year permits to live and work in the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Christine Nome said they will lose their legal status on April 24th or 30 days after the publication of the notice in the Federal Register. So, coming soon. The new policy impacts people who are already in the U.S. and who came under the humanitarian parole program. It follows an earlier Trump administration decision to end what it called the broad abuse of the humanitarian parole, a long-standing legal tool presidents have used to allow people from countries where there's war or political instability to enter and temporarily live in the U.S.
Mhm.
So potentially people could be entering into, especially Venezuelans, because okay, this is really scary. Venezuela, as I think a lot of us know, have really been like that's the only one I can think of right now,
Mhm.
has really been going through it in terms of the political unrest in the
Mhm.
country. And when I think back to like again, I'm using 90 Day, sorry, but when I think about like one particular person or a few people actually who have come in um as Venezuelan who didn't have passports, none of that because that is all back home or whatever the case may be, and they've entered into the States on this basis that, America and Venezuela have working hand in hand. Now, there's actually more than one person because it just came to my mind as I was talking about it. For those
Mhm.
people who watched 90 Day Fiance who
Mhm.
remember Guillermo,
Mhm.
um, him and what's her face again? I can't remember her name, guys. Sorry. Kara, they are no longer together. They have a child together. They've been married for, I don't know, 2, 3 years. They have
Mhm.
a son. They're divorcing. My question is, what happens to him in cases like this? Because he's Venezuelan. He
Mhm.
didn't come to America from Venezuela. He was actually
Mhm.
Dominican, the DR. So I don't know, like, what would happen in a situation like that? Like, are we gonna deport him? Just, blowing it out there. Are we gonna deport him? Because what happens with him and his child in the meantime? Even though he's not with her, he still has a son with her. So, like, it things like that. It's like, what do? You had another person who was shot, who's still with his wife and they're expecting a child, but like he
Mhm.
was shot by police in Venezuela.
Mhm.
So like this is where you're taking letting these people go back to, and I can't even imagine.
Mhm.
So during his campaign, President Donald Trump promised to deport millions of people who are in the US illegally. And as president, he has been also ending legal pathways for immigrants to come to the US and to stay. DHS says parolees without a lawful basis to stay in the US must depart before the parole termination date, saying, quote, parole is inherently temporary, and parole alone is not an underlying basis for obtaining any immigration status.
Mhm.
Before the new order, the beneficiaries of the program could stay in the U.S. until the parole expires, although the administration had stopped processing their applications for asylum, visas, and other requests that might allow them to remain longer.
Mhm.
The administration decision has already been challenged in federal courts. Um, so, a group of American citizens and immigrants sued the Trump administration for ending humanitarian parole a parolee, and was seeking to reinstate the programs for the four nationalities.
Mhm.
Lawyers and activists raised their voices to denounce the government's decision. Friday's action is going to cause needless chaos and heartbreak for families and communities across the country. Was said by Karen Tumlin, who is founder and director of Justice Action Center, one of the organizations that filed the lawsuit at the end of February. She called it reckless, cruel, and counterproductive. Everything this man's been doing is counterproductive, y'all. The Biden administration allowed up to 30,000 people a month from the four countries to come to the United States for 2 years with eligibility to work. And it persuaded Mexico to take back the same number from those countries because the US could deport few, if any, to their homes.
Mhm.
Cuba generally accepted about one deportation flight a month, while Venezuela and Nicaragua refused to take any. All three are U.S. adversaries.
Mhm.
Haiti accepted many deportation flights, especially after a surge of migrants from the Caribbean country in the small border town of Del Rio, Texas in 2021. But Haiti has been in constant turmoil,
Mhm.
hampering U.S. efforts. Since late 2022, more than 500,000 people have come to the US under the policy, also known as CHNV. It was a part of the Biden administration's approach to encourage people to come through new legal channels while cracking down on those who cross the border illegally.
Mhm.
There's a way to do things. And, I'm not saying that everyone should be allowed in, especially if they're coming in illegally, but there's a way to do things, especially like this. And I'm sorry, but like, why are you targeting, you know, Latino or Latinx people,
Mhm.
Black people? Why are you targeting only them? And I'm not saying they should be targeting anybody, but why are you only targeting them? I wonder for people like who are Ukrainian, who had to flee, you know,
Mhm.
Ukraine because of the war. Why aren't they on this list? If, we're keeping that same energy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they should be, absolutely not. But I'm just like, under those terms, why is it only those countries?
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. So I won't get into it now, but yes, the Hudson's Bay thing, it was um a restructuring agreement, which they kind of felt that they could do after the
Mm,
um, you know, the positive reaction to people trying to buy anything with the stripe on it.
mm. Okay.
Um, so that's that. I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about was um is this. So the ramifications of um the tariffs on Canada and what now we're doing as a tit for tat type situation.
Hmm.
So Canada is tightening its borders by approving fewer visas, projecting over 2.3 million foreign workers, students, and tourists in 2024. This accounts for 50% of all of visa applications, a sharp increase from 1.8 million rejections, 35%, in the previous year. According to data obtained by the Toronto Star, Canadian immigration officials rejected 2,359,157 temporary resident applications in 2024, up from 1,846,180 rejections in 2023.
Mm,
The data reveals that 52% of study permit applications were denied, while 22% of work permit requests were rejected, a slight decrease from 23% in 2023.
okay.
Additionally, Ottawa has reduced its permanent residency targets for the next 3 years. So 395,000 in 2025,
Hmm.
380,000 in 2026, and 365,000 in 2027. So, I mean, this is, probably because adding more people to the country with everything kind of going on right now is going to bog down the economy even more. So, that's kind of where we're sitting. The rise in visa rejections comes amid growing public pressure on the Canadian government to limit temporary immigration. Public dissatisfaction has risen due to increasing living costs and
Hmm.
housing shortages, with some blaming migrants for contributing to the crisis,
Hmm.
which I can understand to an extent. While obtaining a visa has become more difficult, many residents are opting to remain in Canada legally through visitor records, which allow them to stay without working or studying. I mean, again, I'm not saying everyone has to take this similar route, but when my ex was here, he came. He technically was on a visitor visa, but
Hmm.
you can apply for a work permit. That way, you'll get a temporary SIN number and you can work. And that's what he did so that he could work legally
Hmm.
because he was working illegally before that. So at least if you're going to come try to, whatever. I'm not saying you should work illegally. You know what? Never mind.
Hmm.
Um, so where was I? Sorry, I lost my spot. Okay. Applications for visitor records nearly doubled from 196,000 in 2019 to 389,254 in 2024. So
Hmm.
pretty big jump in this
Hmm.
for time. However, the refusal rate for these applications remains low at around 5%. Meanwhile, international students appear to be avoiding Canada. New data shows a sharp decline in study visa applications, which I think we did talk about this in another episode, with applications dropping by 46% in 2024 from 868,000 in 2023 to 469,000 this year. So really, it just went in half in a
Hmm.
year. This decline mirrors a broader global trend, with countries like Australia, the UK, and the US also experiencing a slump in student enrollments.
Hmm.
And that is it for me.
All right. So I'm going to say that we had a great slate of movies been come soon, couple of years, I would say. So a couple weeks ago, CineCon happened. CineCon uh 2025. And Sony was the first studio to release their slate of films that are coming, I would say, within the next couple of years. Um, let me see. I have a list here, basically. So they announced, let me just from okay, so Resident Evil was
Mhm.
the first one.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're a fan of that, Tanika.
I never
Um,
watched it.
well, it's basically based on the video game. Clara and the Sun, directed by Taika Waititi and starring Jenna Ortega.
Mhm.
So that's another one. Grand Gear, directed by the Godzilla minus one director.
Mhm.
Um, I don't want to botch his name, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Takashi,
Mashu?
huh?
Who?
So he did Godzilla minus one. You ever seen that
Oh,
movie?
no.
Okay,
No.
pretty good movie. Better than like the North America version of Godzilla. But anyways, uh, and this is going to be his first English language debut. Technically, Godzilla minus one was basically um Japanese, I would say. Next one, Breadwinner, directed by Eric Apple or Appeal, starring comedian Nate uh Bargatze, I would say. Um, next one is Jumanji. Jumanji, sorry, my bad.
Oh, Jumanji, yeah. Okay.
Jumanji 3 with The Rock,
And
Kevin Hart,
and
and
okay.
Jack Black. So like
Okay.
they're coming back. They're coming back for their third movie.
Wow,
I
okay,
know.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's been
I
a few
know.
years since the second one.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Um, Legend of Zelda live action. I know
Which
our
we definitely talked about.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's common. They also announced a new Spider-Man film with Tom Holland. Tom Holland,
Mhm.
different director. So it's the same director that did Shang-Chi.
Okay.
So yeah, and more coming to that in a minute. The next one, I think might like this, Taniga. The
Mhm.
Beatles, a
Okay.
four, a four-film cinematic event
Mhm.
directed by Sam Mendes and Paul McCartney, will be played by, Jesus Christ. Um, I'm gonna botch a lot of these. This guy's name, Paul Mescal,
Paul
John,
Mescal.
yeah, Mescal,
Uh,
John, uh, Leno or Lennon will
okay.
be played by Harris
Oh,
Dickinson.
it's John Lennon.
John Lennon? Okay,
John Lennon. Oh my
okay.
God.
Oh wow.
Oh Lord.
Well, huh?
I can't believe you badly butchered John Lennon's name. Okay,
John
yeah,
Lennon? Is
continue.
it John Lennon's name? Oh shit. Oh my
Yeah,
bad.
it's because I realized I thought you were saying the actor's name, and then until I realized you were saying this is playing him. I'm like, oh, it's John Lennon.
Yeah, John. Okay, so Ringo Starr. I'm gonna be butchering a lot of people's names in this one, so my bad, guys. Will be played by Barry. Um, on.
Okay,
He. Oh my God.
I don't know.
Okay, and George Harrison will be played by Joseph Quinn.
Okay,
All four movies teased to be simply titled Paul, John, Rango, and George will be released in April 2028. So they're supposed to be
2028.
yeah. So they're
Okay.
supposed to be released all on the same day. So each
Oh,
member will
so
get
each
like,
member is getting
yeah,
their own movie, basically.
yeah,
Okay.
biopic, and I think it's gonna be like a some cinematic universe when they just probably come together.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you realize what you just did there?
Hmm?
Did you realize what you just did there?
Spoil it?
No, 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 no. I
What?
don't think you realized what you just did. So you said it's gonna come together. That's a Beatles song.
Oh,
You literally just used a Beatles song.
did I? Oh,
You
yeah.
did.
So that basically that's probably what they're gonna be doing.
Come
Uh,
together,
yeah, right
man.
now.
Right now.
Karate Kid Legends.
That's
So
on Jackie Chan, right?
yeah, with Jackie
Yeah, I've been
Chan,
seeing. I saw commercials for it.
and then the one of the old
Oh, they were showing commercials for it during Deadpool, I
yeah, yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Jackie Chan's there. I'm not gonna say the rest of the cast name. I will give you guys a
You know what? That's
website.
fine. Let's keep going.
I'm pretty bad at
Wait,
names.
is it the original Karate Kid in that movie too? Sorry
Yes,
guys, I don't remember his name.
yeah, he's in there too as well.
Yeah.
He's in there. I don't
Okay. Yeah.
know his name, so I just wanna let you
Oh,
guys handle
it's
that.
bugging me though. I need to know his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
I need to know his name right
uh,
now. Okay. Yeah.
28 years later is another film that's
28 years later.
yeah,
So they're doing another one.
yeah, yeah. That's dropping
Wow.
soon.
So no. So they did 28
Um,
days, 28
and
days
then
later, and now they're doing 28 years later. Okay.
okay, sorry, 28 years later. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's like the 28 days, 28
Oh, they
days
did the
later.
first. Oh, they did the first
And
one.
then it sounds like 'cause that's what it is, 28
So
years later instead
that
now.
one is releasing June 20th, 2025.
Hmm.
And then the second one to that is 28 years later, The Bone Temple, January 16th, 2026.
Wow, okay. It really
Yeah, yeah,
some things can't okay, never mind.
yeah. So
Continue.
Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, that's the animation.
Hmm.
Um, that's coming June 4th, 2027. I can't wait for that. Been waiting for that for quite a while. I hope
You're gonna be
shoot
waiting a little
more.
longer,
Yeah, I
a
know.
couple years from now.
Yeah, I know. Animation
Takes time.
takes time. I know that for a fact. I hope shoot more keeps his mouth kind of shut because, like, you know,
I mean, we know
I don't know.
Pixar takes about 7 years or so to make a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You heard about the whole Shamik Moore and the Haley Steinfeld thing, right?
Mhm.
He's a little bit creepy about that. Like that. I just want
Mm,
towards her, just to
mm.
say that. So like he's a, but hopefully
No.
he just like keeps his distance away from her because she's a married woman. So, but
Right.
anyways,
And who is this that he's creepy with?
because like
No, who? I'm saying who.
it's been told like he's been trying to get at Haley Steinfeld for so long. Like you
Oh,
could see in like a lot of the press conference together, and then
okay.
interviews in the
She's
past, and then
married?
yeah, she's married to a football player, I
Oh,
believe.
that's right. I did hear that. I did
Yeah,
hear she got married. Yeah,
yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah. So basically, he's been trying to like give
Unless
hints.
he wants to get beat up by her
Yeah,
football player husband, I mean,
yeah,
stop it.
and then and then she's been trying to be like, yeah, I'm not interested.
Well,
Type
now
of
she's
looks,
married.
yeah, type of
Yeah.
looks, like basically. And then she went to do a movie with Michael B. Jordan. That's the
I
Sinners with like
mean,
Ryan Coogler. So
I mean, listen, I wasn't always on the bandwagon with Michael B. Jordan until I saw Black Panther, and I'm like,
yeah.
why, why do I like him now? Is it because he's bad? I don't know, but he did things to me. Yeah, I'd make a movie with him too. Anyways,
Yeah.
go on.
Caught Stealing with August 29th. That's releasing. A Big Bold Beautiful Journey. Um that's main cast is Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell and more. That's releasing this September 19th, 2025.
Is
Uh,
Colin Farrell
yeah, the Penguin and the Batman. That's the guy you should.
he's so hot.
Yeah, he did the Penguin the series, and then he
Hmm.
was in the Batman with Robert Patterson. So
Oh, he was?
yeah,
So wait. There is two really good looking, and don't come at me, people, okay?
yeah.
There's two really good looking people who have accents. I mean, I know one's British and one's Irish, but hello, I need to get on
Mhm.
that movie. God damn.
Yeah, yeah. So Goat is basically an animation. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's an animation film,
It sounds familiar.
and it's been produced by people. Got to get his name right. It's not Stephen Curry. It's Stephen Curry, and he's a
Who
basketball
says
player
Stephen
from the
Curry?
Golden State. There's people that say Stephen Curry for some
It's
reason. Stephen Curry.
yeah, it's even I know that. Guys, come on.
A- And if people have trouble, oh
Just say
well,
Steph Curry.
basically I have trouble pronouncing people's names. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I have
Just say
botched
Steph Curry then if you don't know.
I just yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's Steph Curry. Please. Steph.
yeah.
I understand. I used
So
to say
it's
yeah.
Stefan.
Yeah, I used to
Stephen
say
Curry,
Stephen.
yeah.
I used to say Stephen because like yeah, it's pronounced that, but you know it's Steve. It's Steph Curry. And this is a movie that you might like,
Mhm.
Tanika. I know what you did last summer.
Oh my God, you've no idea.
July,
You have no idea how much I've been seeing the articles come out. And I'm
yeah,
like, listen. Don't, don't tease me
yeah,
with a good time.
yeah.
I
July
can't believe he's coming
18th.
back.
Yeah, it's July 18, 2025, the release
Oh.
date for that one.
So Jennifer
So it's
Love
next
Hewitt
year.
and Freddie Prinze Jr. are in it, right? Is that what it says?
Let me see. Let me see the description. So, well, CineClines played the horror crowd with a trailer for their upcoming Know What You Did Last Summer Legacy sequel. The trailer starts with a light banter between a teenage couple, one of whom is played by, oh my God, Malin Klin, I believe,
Mm,
and or Lynn or I don't,
it's fine.
I'm botching it. Um, goes upstairs to take a bath, completes with a blood red bath bomb and headphones to listen to a guided meditation. Her boyfriend is savagely murdered by a hook
Mhm,
handed killer dressed all in black.
mhm,
The trailer then moves on to show, you say, Madeline's character and her group of friends and including Chase Sue Wonders and debating if this has anything to do with, well, what they did last summer. So,
mhm.
let me see.
Well, I do know
Then
Jennifer
there's,
Love Hewitt for sure is in it.
yes,
I'm trying to figure out if Freddie Prinze Jr. is also in it.
yes, he is.
Yes. Oh my God.
During a town hall meeting, Freddie Prince, is it Prince Jr.?
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, returning as his character from the original film.
Ooh, it's
Yeah,
happening, y'all. It's happening.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I'm serious. This is one
yeah.
of my favorite movies. I watch
Mhm.
it every year. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm watching it since I was a kid. I love this movie. When I realized this
Yeah.
was a second movie, I got onto that too. It's not as good
Mhm.
as the first one, but it is what it is. I'm curious if we're bringing, okay, but follow me here, everybody who knows
Mhm.
the movie. I'm just curious how this is going to go because, as far as we know, if we know, they killed the killer. They killed him because the same person in the first one is the same person in the second one. As far as we know, they killed him. Does he come back too, or someone who may potentially look him? Well, I don't know. He's probably really old now or dead.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm just curious. And are they together? I have so many questions. I'll leave in the movie.
So, yeah, that was Sony's day one. Then there's day two. Um, basically Superman. If you guys haven't seen that, that's produced by James Gunn. If you don't know who James Gunn is,
I know the name.
yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy
Mm,
trilogy.
mm,
He was the director of that.
mm.
Um, pretty good trilogy. But I saw the first trailer to Superman. It was pretty good. So
Hmm.
hopefully, we'll see a better trailer of that, and then
So
obviously,
is sorry, I'm asking questions.
yeah,
Is
go
the
ahead.
Superman movie with
Cavill?
Henry Cavill?
No, it's not.
Oh,
Different
no, no,
actor.
no.
Yeah, it's a different actor. They replaced him with a different actor,
That's
younger.
such a
Yeah,
mistake,
yeah,
man. I mean,
yeah,
have we seen him
yeah,
lately?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. He looks well. He looks exactly similar to Superman. Dorky. He plays. You
he's
know, remember the Superman series back in the day?
like we are you meaning like the original?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I ever really watched it, but obviously,
No,
yes, I do know.
yeah, yeah. That basically captures similar feeling of as that.
Okay.
Basically, yeah,
Okay, so we're kind of, going back
yeah,
to the roots. Okay, paying homage to the original Superman,
yeah.
who's I
Yeah, in the
don't know
comics.
why his name's not coming to me right now, guys. I'm so sorry. But may he rest in peace. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah. Um, basically, yeah, hopefully it's the trailer drops and it looks a lot better than the first one. Um, so Fast and Furious F1,
Another
I
one.
think that's yeah,
Another one.
yeah, yeah, DJ Khaled. Um, oh, hold on, is it Fast and Furious or is it
I
just
do know there's
F1?
supposed to be another one.
Yeah, let me see if I got that
Listen,
right.
if you see Vin Diesel along with other people who are part of the Fast Furious world, it's Fast and the Furious.
Okay, I know it's supposed to be
Like,
releasing with the film, but I don't think it's with Warner Brothers. I believe. I don't know.
no, that is
So
what
I'm
I
gonna skip that. Um, Weapons. I don't know. Weapons. There's a film called Weapons as well.
okay.
Um, uh, Final Destination.
I did hear they're
Bloodlines.
doing another one. I did hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's another one. It's coming. From one battle after another. That's another film.
Mm,
I think I saw a trailer to that one too. It's featuring Leonardo DiCaprio in there. Um from the Housemaid. So that's another film as well.
mhm.
This is a film I've been waiting for to see for quite a while. Um Now You See Me 3.
I heard they're doing another one. I heard that.
Yes.
And I remember telling my mom that, and she's like, why? The first two weren't that good. I'm like,
What
see,
was
now you're incorrect,
wait,
ma'am.
wait,
Now
wait,
you're
wait. Hold on,
incorrect.
hold on. I mean, the second one was, eh,
It was I.
yeah,
But,
all right, yeah. The
but
first one
again,
was, oh, oh, wow, it was amazing.
anything to do with Daniel
Yeah,
Radcliffe, I'm in.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm like, ma'am, you're
yeah,
incorrect. Now
yeah,
You See Me is a
yeah.
great movie.
Yeah, Grace.
And
It's a decent series, I would say.
yeah,
Just yeah,
I'm here for it. I
yeah,
was here for the twisties and the turns,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
I think the first one had a better twist than the second
oh,
one. The second one was
so
like,
good.
yeah,
That twist was so good.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They need to out that. Yeah,
and Mark Ruffalo is the best. And is okay.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yours. Um, was Samuel Jackson in there, or
Yes.
was it Samuel
No,
Jackson,
not
or
Samuel
was it
Jackson. No,
no, it
it's
was
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman in the second one. Yeah, he was alright. He was alright in there. Yeah,
Okay, listen. We
really.
can say what we want to say, but
Mhm.
he is still Morgan Freeman.
No, he's a great actor, but like
Okay.
I feel like the way how they used him in that film, it's just like
Hmm.
he was all right in there, right? So as I remember watching that, I was like, does he need to be in this film? And I'm like,
He can
okay,
be in any film he wants because
uh,
he's Morgan Freeman.
okay, all right, all right. Okay, so John Wick 5 has been announced as
Another
well.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I know they are
I'll
creating
always
like
give it to Keanu, so it's fine.
mhm. I have yet to see. I've seen the first, second. I got to see the third and the fourth one.
Hmm.
I know they're making spin-offs as well. Um, of John Wick.
Mm.
I might see those. Who knows? Who knows when? So, yeah. Uh, New Hunger Games.
Another one?
Yes.
Why? You know what? Forget about
Yes. Yes, me. Uh, The Long Walk. That's another film as well.
it. Okay.
I think that's about it for Warner Brothers. So, there are more slate films that are coming,
Mm.
um, to be shown on CinemaCon. Basically, they got Disney, Pixar. I'm guessing Disney hasn't shown their stuff yet. Disney, Pixar Hoopers, Disney Morona 3,
Moana.
um, Master of the Universe, Scream.
Wait. Master of the Universe. Oh, okay, no, I did hear about that. Continue.
Yes, new Scream as well.
If we've been talking, come on,
Yeah,
nonstop about Scream,
yeah.
not surprised for anybody.
Street
Yeah.
Fighter based on the video game.
Mm,
Super Mario Brothers 2.
okay.
Uh, The Odyssey,
Hmm.
Shrek 5. People have
Okay.
been pe
Okay. Listen, I've been hearing.
mhm.
I
People have
don't,
been yeah.
I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm
Mhm.
here for it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a good idea.
Did you saw the trailer for it?
I haven't.
There's a snippet. There's a five like I think it's like a 30-second, and people had an
Like a
issue with it.
teaser.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
teaser. Yeah. People had an issue with it. I saw no issue, but
Okay.
Shrek aging.
Shrek
They
is
look
aging?
older. Yeah, Shrek is aging. Obviously, their daughters has gotten older,
Uh,
and then obviously Eddie Murphy's what's the name? Donkey
Donkey.
age as well.
Excuse
And
me.
they said there's something wrong with the animation, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I'm like, a lot of people didn't like the animation because it didn't like their original characters and from 10 years ago.
Well, my question is with aging them, it's like, okay, I understand aging them in the sense of,
Yeah,
they've been going since,
yeah.
for the past 20 years.
Mhm.
I get all of that and everything, but there's a newer generation who, didn't grow up with Shrek. Like, we
Mhm.
grew up with Shrek.
Mhm.
It, wouldn't you not just keep them looking the way they look? Even though I get
I
his daughter's
mean,
growing up and
yeah, I
his
mean, I
children, or
guess they
children,
want.
I should say, are growing up, but it's just like,
I mean, I guess
I
they
don't
want
know.
them. I guess they want them to age
I guess.
older. Even the
But
mom.
it's Shrek. Shrek's not Pixar, that's DreamWorks.
I think
They're DreamWorks for sure. I remember that.
yeah, DreamWorks.
I
Yes.
I know DreamWorks just does things very differently, so maybe
Hmm.
that's not surprising then in that sense.
Hmm.
But
Hmm. Hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, the last movie was actually decent.
Hmm.
Which was like again like 10 years ago.
Right.
Um, so
Yeah.
is everyone slated then for Shrek? Is Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, uh, Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy?
Yeah. And the daughter is Zendaya.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So Star Wars, Mandalorian is another one. I think that's gonna be a film, or I know the series is on
They're
that.
not just exclusive to Disney.
That's Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars is Disney.
No, I know, but isn't the whole Mandalorian thing, wasn't that exclusive to,
Disney.
yeah, like Disney
Yeah,
Plus?
yeah, Disney Plus, but I think that's gonna be like a film.
Okay.
Or it might be a film on Disney Plus, or it might be going to into theaters, knowing how big they know how
It
big.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Uh, Mega Minions. So this is probably supposed to be announced with Super Mario because it's Illumination.
Right.
They're both yeah. Clayface is
Mhm.
another film.
Mhm.
Okay. Another one in this franchise right here. I think you know this franchise, Tanyka. Ice Age 6 is coming.
Another one?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. How many
I haven't
times we're gonna
followed.
have this thing
Yeah,
fight with the acorn? Yeah.
I haven't followed the film that series, that
Really?
franchise. No,
I
I
mean,
stopped that too.
I feel like I stopped at maybe three because my brother was younger too, right?
Mhm,
Again, Ice Age I grew up with, but I remember him being fairly young when the
mhm.
third one came out. But I know there's been others.
Yeah.
Like basically when they had Queen Latifah on the first movie,
Right.
Latifah on it, that was the last one I watched. I know there's been others. And I'm like,
It,
okay, no, enough's enough. So
mhm.
again, how many times are you gonna have this thing fighting with the acorn? I just, yeah.
Yeah. You
Most of
know,
these animals are extinct by now. Like, come on.
yeah. Yeah. You know what film that I wanted to make a Happy Feet 3? Yeah,
Oh,
a Happy Feet 3. And they
but
need to complete the trilogy for that one. But
yeah,
they're not
maybe.
gonna
But
do that.
like,
They're not gonna do that.
what would they do though? Because Robin Williams wasn't Happy Feet.
Oh, right.
Like,
That's
what would they do?
right.
And he was a pivotal character.
Yeah,
Like, what would they
I forgot
do?
about that. I
They can't do that. I
That's
will
probably
boycott.
why.
I'll boycott. Actually, since we're on the topic of Robin Williams, where you finish, do you know they're actually releasing two of his movies that he did right before he died? Like
Really, that was
soon.
years ago.
I know. I heard that they're going to be doing that soon. I remember them talking about the fact that he was filming movies.
Voice acting, or was he?
No, 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 like him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I remember them saying that he was filming,
Yeah.
but there was two movies that he did before he
Hmm.
died.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember ever hearing of them releasing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly forgot about it. I
Mm.
saw an article where they were talking about that they're going to be releasing it, I think this year or maybe next year. They're going to be releasing it. I'm like, now? It's been 10 years. He's been
Interesting.
gone for 10 years.
Maybe they weren't too sure what to do with it, or
Maybe.
you know, they just like thought about like if it will, if if they should release it, if, if they release it, they'll think people will just think there'll be controversy with it because like you know
Right.
you're doing it
Maybe they think it's been
to
long enough that they can do it now.
make money on his death. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
you
every, and
can do
not
that.
only that, like, yes, it was his death. Um, his, how he died
Hmm.
um, and not only that, but like, obviously he was battling this illness,
Hmm.
which, precipitated
Yeah,
how he dies. And,
yeah,
um, so yeah, like, I don't know, maybe it was the best option to hold off
yeah,
on releasing these movies.
and then
But I thought maybe they just would have shelved it and called it a day. I I was not expecting to say that. Like, it's gonna be really surreal for people because people are gonna go watch the movies.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be really surreal
yeah.
watching him
Mhm.
after a decade after his passing.
Now, does he have kids?
He has a daughter.
It's probably they spoke to the daughter about it.
Yeah, her name is Zelda, actually.
Yeah, probably spoke to the daughter about it if it was okay to release the film.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, she
So
was, I think, 25-ish
25 again?
when he
Yeah,
passed.
yeah.
So, maybe it's
They had to spoke to the daughter.
oh, of course. Well, he was
There's
also
no
married as well.
yeah,
He was married as well. So I'm sure they had to,
yeah, yeah.
they had to run it probably by the estate in general,
Mhm.
whoever is running the estate. But yeah, they probably would have talked to his widow and his daughter, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay, interesting,
it'll be
interesting.
really interesting to see, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know if I could do it. Even though like watching him, like obviously I watch Mrs. Doubtfire, I'll watch other movies, so obviously,
Mhm.
um, but I know that's you know he was
Mhm.
alive.
Mhm.
Then to
Interesting.
watch movies that have never been released
Yeah,
after his death, like that would be
yeah.
really, really weird. I don't know.
What do you call films like that? Is that post pot? What is it? Post
Postmortem?
Yeah, something like that for people
Well,
who die
I
after
don't know if
they
it's
release
necessarily
content.
I don't know if it's necessarily a terminology for
Mm,
it. Um, but yes, it would be post-mortem, yes, in the
yeah,
sense of it's
yeah,
after his death. It's not unusual. I mean, they stayed for Michael
mm,
Jackson did it. They released music that was never probably meant to see the light of
yeah,
day.
yeah, content.
Um,
Yeah,
which I think was, maybe selfish reasons why they did that. But anyways,
yeah.
um,
That's more so. I don't know. Maybe they spoke to the Jacksons
oh
team,
yeah, the
and
Jacksons run the
they
estate.
just there's
The-
been a lot of stuff
His,
about them. So like I rather
yeah,
not go into that. So
no.
yeah, yeah. So
Let's just say Jermaine is a little questionable sometimes. But anyways,
yeah, yeah,
but I mean, with Prince, nothing's been released because you're kidding.
yeah. I guess probably he did it on his like
Oh no,
his like
Prince would have never allowed that if he was
yeah.
alive, much less. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Michael Jackson wouldn't have either.
yeah,
But I think people who run his estate really
yeah,
do respect
yeah,
what he stood for.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, back
Okay.
to movies.
Yeah, back to the movie. Yeah, back to the movie. So the next one is The Hunt for Gollum.
What?
The Hunt for Gollum.
Like Lord of the Rings?
Gollum. Gollum.
Gollum, 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 Gollum. You got it right
Yeah.
first time. Like Lord of the Rings? Like
I think so. Yeah, I think
My
that's right. Yeah,
precious.
yeah, I think so. That's it.
Okay.
Doesn't say Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's
Uh,
Gollum.
yeah,
Anyone who watches Lord
yeah,
of the Rings knows
yeah.
Gollum is my precious. Yeah,
Shannon.
I'm
Yeah,
here for that. My brother does
DC's
the best imitation of Gollum. Anyways, continue.
really.
Yeah, it's weird. He gets down there with it, and I'm like,
Huh.
it's
I,
so creepy how much he sounds like him.
I just never got into Lord of the Rings at all.
Really, never?
No.
I like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's good. I watched it
uh,
all.
so DC's Supergirl is going to be a movie. Um,
Oh,
played by a different actor, not the one that did the series.
well, I would think at this point,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Supergirl's been done for a while.
yeah,
Yeah,
for some years. And another Toy Story 5. Another Toy Story. Sorry,
I
my
did.
bad.
Yeah,
Toy
you've
Story
been
5.
talking about that. Yeah,
Yeah, so wonder if they're gonna do it until to Toy Story 6 or something like that, or
they said the last one was going to be the last. Well, you said five. Five already
yeah,
came out, so
5.
it's actually six.
Is it 5? What?
Five came out. I'm pretty sure.
No, 4
Okay, hold
came
on,
out,
wait,
didn't it?
wait, hold on. Okay, wait, hold on. So they had. Oh no, you're right. Is it
No, it's
five?
5. It says 5
Is it five?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 5.
They said this last one was gonna be the last one.
This one?
Four was supposed to be the last one.
No, well, I guess Disney was like, nah, we
Nope.
need more. It's a
We're gonna
franchise that
go to
people,
infinity and beyond.
yeah, yeah, it's a franchise that people love. I don't know what type of movie or subject matter they're gonna
What's
make based on this movie.
left? What's left?
And Andy has grown.
Well, Andy hasn't been a part of the series since the third movie. And even that was like in the beginning of the movie.
Maybe they take on another kid or something like that,
Yeah, they had another
possibly.
kid. No, no, no. Here's what, okay,
On
because
the
you
fourth
didn't
movie?
watch it, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay, okay. Let me explain. So Andy donates the toys to this little girl. Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
little girl has the
Oh
toys
wow. Okay.
for 3 and 4. But
Mm-hmm.
then she creates this new toy, quote unquote, which is like a plastic spoon, um, bajigger thing that she does. The
Mm-hmm.
toy dips out because he's like, I, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Woody and Buzz go after the fork, spoon, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because she's really upset. She wants that toy back. And
Mm-hmm.
in the process, he finds like this store that has like these antiques, and that's where he finds Bo Peep and her sheep,
Mm-hmm.
which if remember Bo Peep was with Andy, right? They haven't seen Bo Peep since
Right.
they were donated to this new girl. And he ends up Woody, so Buzz goes
Mm-hmm.
back to the little girl. Woody decides he wants to be a lone toy and stay
Mm-hmm.
with Bo Peep and
Wow.
her sheep. That's how it ends. So what's next? Oh, oh, y'all. Woody and Buzz are gonna reunite. That's all I can contribute.
That's, that's I feel like that's kind of milking it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a
I mean, like the concept of donating is, yeah, that would happen in real life, like, but
Mhm.
the fifth film, what's this going to be about? This girl like grows up the same way how Andy grew out of it, or does Andy come
I mean,
back?
she was pretty little. I don't
Mhm.
think Andy's coming back. I mean,
Come back
I don't
like,
know. I don't know. Who knows? What if
yeah,
the little girl has donated her toys to like a nursery or something or some kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
daycare, and Andy's kids
yeah, I get it
now
back.
play with these toys?
Yeah,
It's full circle.
yeah,
But I
possibly.
also heard rumor that Sid might be making an appearance. Maybe his kids also play with the toys in the same way their father did. I don't know, man. I think they are milking it. I think it's time to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if they're going to do a sixth and final one, just better be like the final one.
That's literally better be the final one.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
So like, yeah. Um, yeah, space. There's a couple more here. Andy Weir, Project Hail Mary.
Oh,
Uh, don't know anything about that too
Andy
much.
Weir,
And
yeah, I think I've heard the name, but yeah, not
mhm.
much.
And last but not least, Fast and Furious Part Two.
Another Fast and Furious.
Yeah, 10 Part Two. So
Oh my
like
God.
basically, yeah,
I don't
basically,
understand how these movies keep going. I just
yeah.
don't
And then
get
they're
it.
gonna make it. I heard they're gonna make it 11.
Oh,
Oh,
for
that's the
fuck's
final
sakes.
one. That's the final one. And
Listen,
then
y'all. I remember when this movie came out.
yeah.
And yes, it was fascinating.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, there's only so many times you can be for the family. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, it's just,
So, what films are you more excited for within like the next couple of years? We year on a couple of years now. Now that you know these films, I'm excited for Spider-Man,
yeah,
Brand Day,
yeah,
Avengers Doomsday,
yes.
and
Michael Jackson biopic. That's for me.
is it coming too? I
So
don't,
it was supposed to be out already, and it got pushed to towards the end of the year.
Mhm.
I think October, I
So,
think.
mm,
So it got pushed. Um, I mean, if they were smart, they could have maybe released it on his birthday, but hey,
mhm.
I don't know what day his birthday falls on
Yeah,
this year, but yeah, I think that would
yeah.
have been smart, but I think it's October. So
Mhm.
yeah, we'll see.
And then Spider-Verse is another one for me. I think that's about it for me. I don't know about you. I think go ahead.
That's all I can think of. I mean,
You say you're not excited for Scream? You're
oh,
not
yep,
excited
Scream,
for
Scream. I didn't know what you did last summer.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
first I'm
yeah.
excited for Scream. I didn't know what you did last summer. When I heard they come out with that one, I'm
Hmm.
like, listen,
Hmm.
just it is a good time to be alive for horror fans,
Hmm.
honestly.
Hmm.
Ugh,
Yeah, and I think that's about it for me on this
I
side.
think that's it.
Yeah, I know I botched a lot of the names on these like directors and actors,
That's fine.
and producers as well. But apologize for that. But yeah, that's about it for me when it comes to this. I know they're probably going to be doing more days because Disney has not shown their slate of films yet,
Hmm.
and I think there's another studio as well that's coming to this. So
Hmm.
like I think there's a couple more days. I think it's just a weekend. So like yeah,
Hmm.
but that's just the films that I just see on there. That's coming from from certain certain mixture of studios. So
And we
that's
can
it.
always do an update too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll probably do something like that. So yeah. So this ends this special episode of the Next Tape Podcast. The Next Tape Podcast is available on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called Tanika.
Next Take podcast.podpage.io.
And where else are we at?
Facebook and Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod.
And you guys can email us at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. That is Mikel Tanyka at gmail.com. So we talked a whole bunch of stuff, like a
A
lot of
lot.
stuff. Yeah.
A
So
lot.
from tariffs to the Hudson Bay and from the movies, Cinecon 2025. So yeah, I'm guessing we'll keep you updated on the Hudson Bay and also the tariffs, and Cinecon is still going right now. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. Anything else, Tanika?
No, that's it.
Okay, all right. So I'm Mikal, and
And I'm Tanika.
we're out until
I think tomorrow.
tomorrow. Peace, guys.
Bye.